Sandra here, and welcome to my channel, The Sassy Club. And before we get into this video, be sure and subscribe and like this video so you don't miss any of the content that I will be putting out for you guys this December. For this video, I picked up this notebook from Target, but you could probably pick this up at any local store or Walmart. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is cut some slits into these little holes so that I can make the cover removable. This is a great way to add some options to the covers that you want to make. You could also just pull out a piece of notebook and use that as a template, but I wanted to use this hard cover and just cut out the little slits just so that I could remove it, and I can always put it back so you're not damaging anything at all. It's just a way to be able to use the cover and to be able to customize your notebook more. So hopefully I'm making sense. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and mark some lines for where I'm going to cut this. You could also go ahead and measure this, but I just, did my thing and just made some marks on the little lines so I knew exactly where to cut, because I'm more of a just like wing it sort of gal, but whatever's easier for you. And then I'm using this paper trimmer and I'm just going to go ahead and cut the lines that I marked so that it's really easy to create a cover that's going to be perfectly aligned and symmetrical. Of course, you could also use a scissor if you don't have a paper trimmer. You don't have to do it this way, but of course if you have a paper trimmer, then that's going to save you a heck of a lot of time and all of that. So yeah, easy peasy. Next thing I'm going to do is pull out my acrylic paints, and I picked these up at Hobby Lobby and they were super cheap. I think they were like $3 or $2. They had some percentage off when I bought them. I have this little scraper doodad here. You could also use an old gift card or an old credit card, and then I also have that little piece of silicone paper, and I just put the paper, the paint on there. So I could just use that as kind of like a little area to have like a palette on. But you could pretty much use anything, including a piece of scrap paper, just anything to kind of contain the mess. And I'm just going ahead and randomly just spreading around this paint to create like just a random abstract sort of pattern. I think that abstract paint patterns are really cool and really beautiful. So I think it's really fun to be able to just do something like that. And I thought it'd be fun to try out two different versions of covers that you could do for this notebook. This being the first one, and this one's really simple to do. You could do this with any sort of acrylic paint you have at home. You could even use watercolors, whatever you have at home. Maybe not necessarily watercolors for the scraping part of the technique, but you could definitely do different versions of this. And as you guys can see, I went ahead and let that dry off camera, and then I had these gold foil or copper foil, more like it, stickers in my stash that I had also picked up at Target. Holla! Target! I honestly pick up such random things in there. It like sucks you in like a vortex. I thought these were really cute, and I really love the diamond shape to them. So I thought these would be fun to add a little something to the cover. I feel like gold foiling or copper foiling, any sort of foiling in general, makes everything better. Do you agree with me or not? Anyway, I know everyone's not a fan of that, so you could definitely use some stickers you have in your stash. Yes, you did just hear Yoda in the background of my video. He's my text tone on my phone, so yes, I definitely am a Star Wars fan. Anyway, moving on, I also decided to add some stickers on the bottom of this. I kind of was just playing with the direction of where I wanted to put the stickers and how I wanted this cover to look. You could even fill up this cover even more with some sort of stickers if you wanted, but I kind of just wanted to keep it understated and nice. I really liked the background with the paint, so I didn't want to take away from it too much. So this is kind of what I ended up with. I thought that was really cute, and I could have also further customized this, but like I said, I didn't want to go too crazy. Then I went ahead and started marking the holes for where I'm going to need to punch holes. I'm using my crocodile tool, but you can use any hole punch. This is just the one that I've had for years now, so it's the one I'm using, but anything that punches a circular hole will pretty much do. And I'm just going ahead and punching where those little marks are that I left with my pencil, so that way obviously I don't have to worry about erasing anything, and that lets me know exactly where I need to punch. And this is really easy. It's just a matter of looking exactly where the hole is and then lining it up so it's in the middle. And there we have our holes ready to go. Now I could have laminated this or even added some masking tape, clear masking tape over the holes, but I didn't do that for the sake of this video because I feel like that's kind of like one of those things that's pretty easy to do. You will see me self-laminate the next cover I do, but I will say that for paper covers, if you're gonna want it to hold up for a while, you may want to actually laminate, or you might want to put the plastic masking tape just over the holes as a tip so that you don't break down your cover if you plan on interchanging your covers a lot. I'm going ahead and just rounding off the corners with my scissors. If you guys happen to have any issues with creating rounded corners just by eyeballing it, I suggest using a round sphere, cylindrical objects you might have inside your craft area to kind of make lines to help guide you. But for me, I just kind of eyeballed it and I was happy with the way they turned out. I'm now just attaching the cover, and as you can see, I'm just pushing in all those little tiny paper slots. Obviously, you'd want to use a thicker type cardstock also when creating a cover like this, because those slots could definitely get ripped easily if you don't use something like an 80 to 100 pound cardstock. So keep that in mind, as well as the masking tape tip. Anyway though, I hope you guys enjoyed this first cover and it gave you ideas to try to use it, and if you do, be sure and hashtag me on Instagram, hashtag TheSassyClub, and you guys can see a full gallery of other things people tag me in there as well. So I'm going ahead and moving on to my next cover, which I'm going to be using some scrapbook paper I had in my stash. I had this paper that I didn't want to throw away because I'm a stationery hoarder and I was like, this would be a perfect size for this cover. So I'm going ahead and doing the same things I did before. Instead of using the paper trimmer, I'm just using a scissor with the lines that I made, just to show you that it is quite simple to do this with a scissor as well. So if you have a basic amount of things at home, not many things, you can always create things using random objects you might have lying around that you wouldn't think you could use. You totally can, so just keep that in mind when doing these types of things. I'm just marking those holes again because we will be punching out the holes like we did before, but I'm going to self-laminate before I do that, so the steps are just a tad bit different. But as you can see, I marked the holes ahead of time just so I knew exactly where to punch and I didn't forget that step somehow. And then I'm also pulling out the stamp set from TheSassyClub.com. I really love this Bloom and Shroom stamp set, and I thought it would be fun to just stamp a bunch of these little flowers just to make this pattern on here just that much more unique, because even though I could totally use it the way it is, and I love the way the pattern is already, I thought it'd be fun just to add a little something. But that's really optional, so whatever you want to do, you can do. It's really up to your personal preference. I mean, you could even add paint to this and do a bunch of different things. It just has to do with personal preference. I did want to keep this more on the simple side to let that paper just kind of shine on its own, and then also just for the simple fact that I wanted to show you that you don't have to go all out. If you don't have paints, you don't feel like you want to paint or make a mess, you can do really simple things like this. And that black ink is also from the Sassy Club as well. And I could have also even colored in these flowers, but again, I didn't want to take away too much from the color already on the paper itself, so I kept it very neutral, and I really love the way it looks like that. So next, I also picked up these brackets from Target as well. They will be going on the cover, but I'm going to self-laminate first, which I thought about after the fact. I was like, I need to self-laminate first because it just is going to protect that paper. And this is the first time I'm self-laminating per se. I'm just picking up that white part of the paper and then I'm laying down the side that I want to be laminated on the sticky side, and you're going to notice that right away, the difference. And then I'm just applying some pressure. I decided to use my little scraper tool. Again, you could use a credit card or gift card, anything that you have that's flat like that, just to apply pressure and make sure that that's really, you know, on there well. And this is going to be a little different. Even though I'm cutting this and leaving an edge, you don't want to leave an edge. And as you can see, I go ahead and cut off that edge because it's just going to be adhesive. It's not going to be like when you're heat laminating something that you want to leave an edge, which is different than self-laminating. So keep that in mind. I'm very used to heat lamination, so that's why at first I thought I should leave an edge, but no, you don't need one. And as you can see, it looks really good and it's going to make your cover last that much longer. So now I'm going to take these out and I'm going to see where I'm going to place them. These are definitely not made to be on notebooks. They have little screws on them so that you can add them to like little furniture or wood boxes. I'm assuming that's what they're made for, but I decided it would be cool to put a bracket on this and just write my name on a little piece of paper that would go behind there. So I just went ahead and measured that out, and I thought that would just look really nice and customizable, but you could really put anything you want or even the subject that you're doing on the notebook itself, but I thought it would be fun to put my name. And I also thought that you want to keep in mind that this is a dimensional piece because it's a little metal bracket. So if you're going to have this in your bag flying around, you may want to be careful with putting anything dimensional on the notebook cover so it doesn't get snagged on something or rip something. Just something to keep in mind. And then I'm using some double-sided adhesive because I know it works well on slick surfaces. So that's another thing to keep in mind when you laminate something. Make sure it's an adhesive that's really going to stick on there so it doesn't come off as well. And I'm just taking it off with my little little scissor point because sometimes it's hard when you have nails to get stuff off. If you guys have long nails, and you know exactly what I mean. And then I'm taking my hot glue gun. I let that heat up for a little bit, and it has a fine tip, which is really nice for a hot glue gun, so the hot glue doesn't get everywhere. And then I'm just gonna add that right on top of it, making sure I don't have any of those little glue strings everywhere, which tend to happen sometimes. And then I'm just applying pressure there to add it to the cover, and I thought that looked really pretty, and I just thought it would be fun to do something a little different. I really like that, but as you can see, it is dimensional, so that's not necessarily smart for everyone to do for their covers. And then I had these little pink and black rhinestones in my stash, which I thought would be perfect to cover those tiny little holes on the actual brackets, because obviously I can't use the screws on this. So I went ahead and just added a little bit of glue right on the dot, and then just applied the rhinestone right on top of it. So I thought that would be really cute, and then just add a little bit of bling factor, because who doesn't like a little bling, you know what I'm saying? So I just decided to do that, and I thought it looked really cute, and they're pink, so you can't really go wrong with that. Really love the way those turned out. And now I'm just going to go ahead and just punch my holes through. And what I like about the self lamination sheets is, honestly, they didn't give me any trouble with punching through. For the most part, self lamination is a lot thinner than heat lamination, even though it does the same thing as far as protecting your cover. So I really liked that. And now I'm just adding it in the same way that I did the other cover as well, just pushing in the little holes and everything like that. And I love the way that looks, you guys. It came out so cute. And as you can see, I have a nice pattern on the other side as well. Could have self-laminated that, did something to that, but that's definitely optional. And now we're going to work on the inside of our book. I just wanted to show you guys some of the ways that you could kind of like create yourself a little note section. I'm going to be using the Alpha from the Sassy Club as well. This is the Bubble Alpha, and then I'm using my little pumpkin acrylic block, because obviously you need something to put these stamps to stick to so that, you know, they cling onto it, kind of like a traditional rubber stamp, except a lot more compact. And then I'm just using this pink Sassy ink to just stamp in all these letters, and I did fast forward this to make it a little faster. I kind of cleaned the letters in between, and then just edit that out so it wouldn't take quite as long. You could also do this by hand. It's really optional. If you don't want to take the time to do this, then that's definitely something that you could do. I just thought it would be fun to stamp the letters because they would look more like printed letters. And then I'm using my little ruler to create kind of little boxes for how I want the days of the week to kind of lay out for myself. This is totally something that is personal preference. You could have done straight, vertical, or horizontal lines. It really just depends on how you like to plan your week out and how much room you need. If you had a lot of things going on in your day, you could use one page just for Monday if you wanted to. So it really just depends on what you have going on. But I just find that using a ruler helps me get the straight lines. And then I'm just using a basic pen that I got at Target as well. Holla! It's like my home away from home, guys. And I just didn't want to use any pens that were like too deep black, or kind of like my script pen that I love to use in my videos, because since this paper is very thin, you want to keep in mind that it could easily shadow and bleed through. And so now I'm just adding a few little doodles of things that I just want to add to it, like adding a notes section and a to-do list. And I always have fun watching other people kind of doodle things in, so I definitely wanted to leave this in the video for you guys because I thought you'd enjoy it as much as I do when I watch doodling videos of that nature. And I thought this would just be fun. Again, this is really optional. You could also stamp this part if you're not someone who feels you have good handwriting. I'm also adding little check boxes in there. And again, I'm just feeling out the process of doing this. Maybe I might end up using more to-do notes than notes. I don't know yet. So that's part of the reason I just kind of added both, just to see what works for me. And then I decided to add little tiny doodles of a sassy girl because I just thought it would make it fun, and they're really cute. And I don't need a ton of room, so I definitely had a little extra room to spare to add in my little sassy girls. I thought they would make it super fun and just add a touch of something to the notebook itself. So I hope you guys enjoyed seeing me do that. I'm also going to show you guys right now how to create a pocket to hold your stickers and some of the extra things that you might have that you want to bring with you. This is a great way to do that. I picked up this poly envelope at Office Max. It was like 98 cents. And then I picked up those little Velcro dots at the Dollar Tree, so that was another $1. And I'm going to be adding them to the back of this little folder, so you guys can see how you can attach a removable folder. So if you decide you don't want to have it one week or you need it another week, this is one way to do that. You could also attach this with a strap to your notebook that's removable. There's really so many things you can do, but this is just one way. And all I'm doing is going ahead and laying one of the softer little Velcro parts and the thicker, harder little part I don't know if there's a name for it, above each other, each one. So that way the adhesive part of it is already on top, so it's really easy for me to just line them up, as you can see. So now all I have to do is apply the pressure and just line them up like that, versus trying to like eyeball it and then getting it wrong. So this made it really easy. And now you have a functioning pocket where you can add a bunch of little extra things that's removable. So this is a really good thing to do, and you don't want to pull too hard when removing it, just so that you don't rip your cover somehow off the hinges or something like that. Just keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that you can keep stamps in there as well. Of course, I wouldn't keep too many thicker things in this, because the thicker they are, then the bulkier your notebook is going to be. So obviously it's going to make your notebook a little bit heavier and a little bit more wonky, so keep that in mind as well. But I just wanted to show you that that pocket actually has a lot of room, so you could definitely keep stickers, maybe a highlighter in there, and a stamp set, and you definitely still have room in there. So just something to keep in mind. And as you can see, it made it a bit bulky, but you can always remove it when you want to write on your notebook if you're someone who likes to have a flat surface. And again, I just wanted to show you guys just me writing in the notebook, just so you can see that you could definitely write your little notes and get things ready for school and all kinds of things. You could also just use this for everyday life, notes you have for your kids and your grocery list, anything of that sort. Or if you forget to buy your dog's food and you need to remember it. So anyway, I hope you guys like this. If you want to see more videos like this, or anything specific you want to see me make, be sure and leave it in the comments below. I love to do that for you guys. And also check out the description box for the products that I used. If there's anything not there, leave me a comment, and I'm always happy to answer it for you guys as well. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. And again, if you haven't checked out my Sassy Club website, I also released a Stars Hollow stamp set that was inspired by the Gilmore Girls show. So you're going to want to check that out, because they are limited edition, and these are so stinking adorable. Anyway, you guys, have a happy holidays, and I'll see you again soon.